Yo, yo, yo. What's the dealio, y'all? What is the dealio? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? It's a new week, right? It's a new week, and we are about to get into this week's watch list. All right. So if you guys are just tuning in, man, say what's up. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. All right, we got a new week, so it's a new week to change your life. You know what I mean? Get into the stock market, um, hit some nice plays, hit some nice trades, and continue to build your wealth. All right. So if you guys are tuning in, say what's up in the comments. Let me know where y'all tuning in from, and also be sure to like this video as well. All right. So we got the watch list today. What's up, QTZ? How you feeling? How you feeling? Right? How you feeling? How you feeling, man? I hope everybody had a great week as well. No matter if you are catching this on live or if you guys are tuning in um, on a replay. All right. If you guys are tuning in on a replay, be sure to click the link. I mean, not click the link, but if you guys are tuning on replay, let me know in the comments where you guys are tuning in from. All right. Key, what's up? How you feeling? Oklahoma in the building. Okay, Brittany, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome. Um, Johnny, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's about to be a new month. It's about to be a new month. Have emotion. What's up? Have emotion. Juan, how you feeling? Miami. Shout out to Miami, man. What up, Alchemist? How you feeling? All right, be sure to like this video, y'all. And also let me know where y'all tuning in from. Last week was a pretty crazy week, to say the least. It was a holiday week as well, and so last week we had Thursday off, and so this week we got a full 5 days. So I'm excited to get into it this week, a full week to really be able to make this happen. All right. So what up, Doc? How you feeling? He said home of the Chicago Bears. Hey, y'all had a good one against the Eagles, so can't be mad at it. How you doing, Davita? All in Austin. Okay, shout out to Austin. What's up, Travis? Best Beezy, what's up? What up, James Robin? All right, y'all. So we gonna get into it, man. So what we're gonna do is let's go over last week. All right, let's go over last week. What happened last week as well. All right, Kelton, what up? What up? How you feeling? Shout out to Seattle, man. All right. So last week was pretty insane, right? All we did last week was rally. Like, that's all we did. We just rallied the whole week. And it's interesting because we rallied the last week of the month, which makes sense after the type of pullbacks that we had last week, right? So this is what the stock market does, and this is what the algorithms do, and the market makers and whoever controls, the prices of stocks and the institutions, right? This is what they do. They will make stocks come down, right? They'll have a lot of news and stuff going on, and then stocks will come down. They'll make everybody fearful, right? Everybody fearful. And then when you think it's going to keep coming down or you don't want to get into anything, they're going to shoot the stocks back up. All right? That's the game that they play. So it is what it is, right? You got to know how to at least get a piece of it, or you got to know how to play the game. All right? A lot of it is psychology. I can't stress this enough. The psychology, right? The psychology that you have and you possess is going to dictate the type of success that you have long term. All right. So psychology is everything in the game. Okay. Dr. V, how you feeling? How you feeling? If you guys are just tuning in, be sure to like this video. All right. And also drop in the comments where you guys are tuning in from. All right. So let's go to the charts, man, and let's dissect last week from a technical analysis perspective, and then we'll talk about the setups that we have today for this week as well. All right. And you guys know I'm going to give you guys the levels for SPY and also IWM as well. All right. Every Sunday when I do these, I give you guys the levels for the indexes, okay? If you don't do anything else, you can trade an index, all right? My preferred is going to be IWM. It's cheaper than SPY, and I do like how it moves better than SPY. All right. So, and IWM is just small cap stocks. If you don't know what it is, it's an index for small cap stocks. All right. So, what up, Kent? How you feeling? What up, Culture? Orlando in the house. Yeah. Shout out to Orlando. Shout out to Florida. All right. So be sure to like this video and let's get it started, y'all. All right. So we got. All right. I'm good, Dr. V. Life is a beautiful thing. What up, Reggie? How you feeling, Reggie? All right, so SPY, right? So this was last week right here. This is last week right here on SPY. Now, there's a couple things to pay attention to, right? So when I'm looking at SPY, this is on the weekly time frame first. Let's go to the monthly, right? This is the monthly time frame right here. Pull back all the way to 650, pump, we bounce off here, and we go up, right? So this is what the monthly time frame looks like. All of this right here, what is this, y'all? What does this represent? What does this wick represent, or a shadow? Some call it a wick, some call it a shadow. What does this represent right here? Drop that in the comments. Let me know. I want to make sure we all on the same page here. All right, what's up, Mikey? How you feeling? What is this, y'all? Put it in the comments. All of this right here. What does this represent? What does this mean? All right, that's where we're going to start off with. I want to make sure that everybody is aware and they see what's going on here. Okay. So buying pressure. Yep. Buying pressure, right? It's buying pressure. All right. So right here, right? Boom. Right? Boom. Right? Exactly, right? There we go. All right, so this right here is buying pressure. Okay, what does this mean? It means that buyers are stepping in. So they did not want the stock to continue to come lower, right? Buyers are stepping in. So they stepped in, they bought in, and they pushed it up, right? So basically what this is saying is 650 was the level that they wanted the stock to come down to before they bought in to SPY, right? So it dropped from 689 to 650, right? So let's do some math real quick. 689 minus 650, that's $39, right? So SPY dropped $39. 39 divided by 689 is times 100. That's a 5% drop, okay? So SPY had a 5% pullback last month, right? 5.6%, yeah. 5.6% pullback, okay? SPY was only down 5% last month, and then it pushed up. It opened up last month at 685 and it closed at 683. So a very small loss on the monthly, right? For the month for SPY. So we got a couple things to think about and consider and keep in mind, right? The SPY didn't even come down 10%. It just dropped 5%. But a lot of stocks have been down by 10%, 20%, 30%. Some stocks down 50%, okay? So that's what you always want to keep in mind. If the SPY is down 5%, then a lot of individual stocks are probably going to be down, 3x, what the SPY is down, because the SPY is all of the stocks, right? It's the index of all of the stocks. So not every stock is going to be down inside of the SPY, right? So SPY down 5.6% last month. That's the pullback it had, a 5% pullback. So we just retraced almost all of that, right? We just retraced almost all of that. So now we're back at where we started at last month, basically, right? So, and last month, look at the high of last month, right? We're going to zoom in right here, right? What's up, Michael? We're going to zoom in right here, right? The high of last month was 685, right? 685.81, okay? So previous month's high is 685.81, all right? So your resistance for next month and this week on SPY is going to be 685.81, all right? 685.81 is going to be your resistance, all right? So this is what happened. On November 1st, right, the first trading day of last month, let me see what day it was. Last month it was November 3rd, okay? On November 3rd, right, let's go back to November 3rd real quick so you guys can understand what's happening here. All right, so November 3rd, go back, boom, all right, boom, right? This was the high for November, right? So as you can see, November started and we just sold off, right? This was the high right here. The 1st of November, we started here, we tried to come up and then we just rejected and we came all the way down, all right? This was on a Monday, right? So this is what happened to start the month off last month, right? Straight down. And then we started coming down, right? And then it was just like a bloodbath, right? So that's what happened last month, right? That's what happened last month. So now, this is what happened last week, you know, by the day, right? Last week. Fell two down, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday, right? So now, let's go back to the monthly, right? So we're going to say calls above 685.81. All right, we get above 685.81 on the monthly time frame. This is going to be a 2-up candle, and it'll be a bullish 2-2 reversal. All right, because we're at 683, I think that is pretty, like, we're so close to it that we're gonna come up, right? After looking at how last month played out, all of this right here, right? We're gonna come up above here, right? Above 685.81. If we get above 685.81, then we're going to be coming up to 689, right? Now, this right here is all-time highs, right? 689.68, right? So we're only $4 away from all-time highs, and December is notoriously bullish as well, right? So 689.68 is all-time highs. If we get above 685.81, enter in the calls, right? So this is the resistance, and we're going to say calls above that 685. All right. All right. Boom. Now, let's say we look at the daily, and because right here, we are in this order block right here, right? We're in this order block. So if we get below about 680, then you can enter in the puts, right? So we're going to say puts below 680.44. All right. But I don't see it coming lower than like 678, right? If it comes below 680, then it's going to bounce around 678 level, right? But we could just keep going because we're in this order block and it looks like we're above like halfway through. So we just got to see like where we open up at tomorrow. But that's what I'm looking at for SPY right here. All right. That's what I'm looking at for SPY right here. So let me know if that makes sense. All right. Let me know if that makes sense for SPY. All right. We got the upside. We got the downside. Right. And I just gave you guys the breakdown of it all. Right. From a monthly perspective as well. All right. What's up, Stephen? How you feeling? If you guys are just tuning in, like this video for me. All right. By the time we get off this video, let's get this video to 100 likes, y'all. All right. And let me know where you guys are tuning in from as well. All right. I want to know where you guys are tuning in from, right? Where is this channel reaching? Okay. So we have SPY, right? That's the levels for SPY. And that's my breakdown for SPY. All right. A lot of buyers stepped in. So, but we are in the order block on a daily time frame. Obviously, any day the market could go up or down. But when I'm looking at the monthly, that right there was a pretty nice pullback, 5%. It wasn't even a correction though. But to come back down and come back down lower, we gotta really just see, right? So you gotta, like, right now is a great time to day trade, but to swing trade, depending on what's going on, you could get faked out a little bit, right? So that's why I've been focusing on day trading a lot lately, because sometimes you just don't know. Technicals could show you that a stock is going up, and then things could come down for a week or whatever, right? So you just want to make sure that you're not getting faked out and you losing money unnecessarily. All right. So if that makes sense on SPY, we're going to go to IWM next. All right. So we're going to go to IWM. Right. IWM. Boom. All right. So now we on IWM. This right here is the daily time frame, right? So if you look at the daily time frame, look what happened, right? Last Friday, we finished on the one candle, right? We finished on the one candle. Look what happened. We came up, and then we just blasted off. We broke above that 237 level, blasted off, right? Now, last Friday, the other day, we just closed on another one candle right here, right? And if you look at the monthly, on the monthly, we are on a failed two down. Okay? We are on a failed two down on a monthly time frame. Right? Now look at this. We have a massive wick as well, right? So what is this telling you? More buying pressure, right? All this is more buying pressure. All right? Buying pressure. That's all I'm seeing. Okay? Buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure. That's all that's going on. So, this is a failed two down on the monthly time frame, which means that IWM could go absolutely ballistic and bonkers, right? So that's the monthly. The weekly, we got a straight green candle with no wick to the upside. So buyers are in full control here, right? Buyers are in full control right here. And then on the daily, we got a consolidation candle right here. All right. So this is the high of the week this week. So what we're going to say is, so for tomorrow on IWM, we're going to say calls above 248.82, right? Calls above 248.82. So we're going to say calls above 248.82. All right. If you get in calls above 248.82, then we going up to 251 like with ease, right? We're going to go into this order block right here, right? If you want to play it safe, you could ride it up to about 249.50, right? But calls above 248.82 is what I'm seeing, right? We have no resistance until 251.11, but it is in the order block, all right? So we could reject here, come down, and then bounce to the upside, all right? So you got to make sure that you play it properly. But calls above 248.82 for IWM. Now, if we do come to the downside, I'm going to say puts below 247.06, right? Puts below 247.06. All right. Boom. And if we do come lower, we could come down to like 246.30. And then we could bounce at 246.30. Right? But this looks very bullish. This is a 212 bullish continuation right here per the strat. All right. So we got calls above 248.82. Going to the upside, we got a target of 251.11. But we do have an order block here, so we could get some resistance in this little area between 249 and 250. All right. So be a little bit careful up here. It may reject before it goes higher. So that's something to pay attention to, and that's something to look out for. All right. Let me know if that makes sense on IWM. If that makes sense on IWM, drop that in the comments and let me know. All right. TDW, what's up? How you feeling? How you feeling? And if you guys are tapping in, drop it in the comments where y'all tuning in from, y'all. All right. Drop it in the comments. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. Like this video as well. Also subscribe to the channel. Every single day, I'm bringing to you guys some life-changing information that can help you guys level up your game, make more money, be a better person, right? It's a whole person concept over here, all right? It ain't just money, right? It's about a lot of other things. So be sure to make sure y'all tapping in and tuning in, because we coming to you every single day with some heat. All right. So Johnny said makes sense, Juan. Okay. And if you guys want to come trade with us, be sure to click that link in the description and come join the Prosperity Collective. All right. We hit this shit every day. IWM, it don't matter the stock, man. Once we understand the setups, that's what we trade. I trade setups. All right. I trade setups. So makes sense. Danielle, shout out to Danielle, shout out to Juan. What up, Benjamin? KC, Kansas City. Okay. Come trade. Yeah, come trade with us, man. It'll definitely change your life. All right. What up, Mark Quinn? He said back at it. I see. Thanks again for showing up. Hey, you already know, Mark Quinn. You already know. All right, yeah. IWM is looking really strong to the upside. All right. It's looking very, very strong. So those are the indexes, okay? Those are the SPY, and that's IWM. So what we about to do next is we're going to go over, we're going to see how my watch list from last week did, okay? If you guys saw last week's watch list, then you should have took some trades, because this thing did what it did. All right. So I'm going to show y'all what happened last week. All right. I always say I like to show how my watch list performed every Sunday, because I want you guys to see what happened and what I called. Right. I want you guys to know that I'm not just up here saying some random stuff. We research, we study, we analyze, and I bring you guys setups that are high probability and that are also very explosive. All right. So we're going to go over last week's watch list, okay? Juan said, is Prosperity Collective on Telegram? No, it's on Discord. That's where the community is at, inside of Discord. All right, shout out to Augusta. Augusta don't get enough credit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Augusta, man. Shout out to GA. I got a soft spot about Georgia. All right, so let's look at last week's watch list, okay? So last week I called MMM, right? 3M. So let's go to 3M. All right, MMM. Boom. All right. So I said if we got above it's 169.77, price target would be 172.57, right? So what happened last week? We got above the 169, and then we ended up coming up to 172.25. We touched 172.33, right? I said the price target would be 172.57, right? And then look where it came to, 172.33. All right. So that's a $2 move, nothing crazy, but nonetheless, this did do what it did, right? Not a crazy move. I do think that it has more room to go, right? I don't think that it's really made the move yet, but last week, right? This is on a weekly time frame, right? Failed to down last week, broke above highs, and it came up to 172.36. All right. So that's the one. That's the first one. That's the first one that I called last week. Okay, that hit. So I want you guys to understand that these watch lists every Sunday, they can make you real money. I'm giving you guys the setup. I'm giving you guys the analysis. I'm giving you guys the rationale. I'm breaking everything down for you so that you guys could make money, right? So like, understand that this stuff is powerful. All right. Where's the live trading at? It's inside the Discord, Juan. It's inside. So every day we trade live inside of the actual Discord. All right. And we trade throughout the day. Like I may call something, Marcel may call something throughout the day as well. All right. What up, trees? MMM means time to eat. Right. Yeah, get them likes up, y'all. If y'all just tuning in, man, let me know where you guys are tuning in from and like this video as well and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. So that was MMM. The next one that I called was quantum computing, right? QUBT, right? Look what we call. We called a double bottom right here, right? Double bottom right here. So let's go to QUBT. I said, if we get above 1094 on the daily, then you can enter in the calls. First price target is 1233. Right? So let's go to QUBT real quick. All right. QUBT on a daily, right? We, boom. All right. So we got above that 1094, right? That I said. We got above 1094, and then it made a move up and it came up to 1195, right? See how I said calls above 1094? This was from last week, right? So we got above there and then we pumped a little bit. Well, really we pumped on Monday and then Tuesday slightly, and then we consolidated, and then we had a green day, but it wasn't too big, right? But if I'm looking at QUBT here, I see that we consolidated last week, right? So last week was an inside candle. So for QUBT this week, if we break above 1198, then you could take an entry and you could ride it up to 1292, right? That's the 50 EMA right there. And if we get above there, then we're going to come up to 1409. All right, so we're on an inside candle here on the weekly. And then if we get above here, boom, right? So that's another thing, right? The plays that I call, you could trade the same play for a couple weeks, right? When you see me like call a trade, if it's not a pattern, right? Like a double bottom is going to go do what it does, right? But let's say I'm like, okay, if we get above this level and it's not a pattern, then if that stock comes back below that level and then it gets back above that level, you could trade that again, right? So it's like, I want you to understand that I'm really like teaching you how to really fish and rinse and repeat these stocks on a consistent basis. All right. So keep that in mind, y'all. All right. So I called QUBT. It made a nice move and we made money on it together inside of the Discord as well. All right. And the last one that I called last week was FedEx, right? Look what I said. I said if we break above 271.91, right? Entering the calls, my price target is 281.90, right? Look what I said. This was a 212 bullish continuation. If we break above 271.91, entering the calls with a price target of 281.90, right? Now let's go to FedEx. Let's go to FedEx. Let's look what it did on the weekly. It broke above that 271.76 and look where it went to. 276. A $5 move on this stock could have changed your life, right? We still have room to go. We're going to hit the price target. It just didn't happen last week. Last week was a short week as well, right? It was a short week as well. So my watch list last week went 3 for 3. My watch list last week went 3 for 3, 100% efficiency. All right. You would have got in right here, above here. Boom. Take entry. Boom. Ride that to the upside. All right. If you guys took one of the trades from my setups from last week, put it in the comments, right? If you took QUBT, FedEx, or MMM, let me know in the comments because I'm trying to see who really be paying attention here. I'm really curious who be paying attention. Who takes these watch lists on Sundays and really goes and executes in the market every week? That's what I want to know, right? So if you made money off FedEx, MMM, or QUBT, let me know, right? Because I'm doing this every single week, right? Every single week, I am giving you guys setups that I have a high confidence in, and I'm breaking the whole everything down for you guys, right? So don't just watch the YouTube videos, right? Don't just trade. Don't just like watch the YouTube videos or just come on. Like, please understand that you can execute off of this with these levels and you can make a life-changing amount of money. All right. Doc said FedEx and QUD both paid. Okay. Best B, he said, yeah. The Angelo show said I took the IWM trade last week and it went. James R said QUBT. Okay. Yeah. So listen, if you listen and you pay attention to the setups that I talk about every Sunday, and when I live chart throughout the week, if you pay attention to those levels, it's very hard to lose, right? It's very hard to lose. So please understand that. All right. So that's the watch list from last week. We went 3 for 3. Each setup, it went silly. And also remember, none of this is financial advice. I got to say that, right? None of this is financial advice. If you want financial advice, go talk to a licensed financial advisor. I'm just sharing the setups that I see in the market. All right. Snatcher Production said I took IWM, money signs. So that means you made bread with IWM. Davita said paying attention, QUBT, ANET, and SoFi. So you made money with SoFi, ANET, and QUBT. Beautiful. All right. So yeah, I don't always know who be making money because I know that not everybody is going to say something and stuff like that. So I just like seeing who really be, implementing this stuff and not just watching it, right? Because the point is to get into the stock market and change your life. The point is to take these trades that are already analyzed and vetted and you go make some money. That's the point of it, right? It's not to watch, it's to watch, understand, analyze, and then go execute, right? I'm trying to make the stock market easier for you, right? I'm trying to make the stock market easier for you because when I was coming up and I was trying to learn this, nobody was doing what I'm doing, right? And I always said when I get in position, I want to be who I wish I had. So all I'm doing is I'm being who I wish I had. I wish I had this YouTube channel when I was learning how to trade, right? I just wish. Okay. So keep that in mind. QTZ said IWM Daily. Yeah, I'm telling you that IWM Daily it's a moneymaker. Drez said IWM. Drez is in the Discord, right? I saw Drez make at least 200% on IWM in a day. 30%, 100%, 40%, 50%, right? When IWM is trending, it goes crazy. All right? So your levels are nice. They are bangers. Yep. Mark Quinn said, I'm here because your watch list still helps. Yep. Mark Quinn came after the OKLO, right? I remember I called OKLO. It was about to break out from like $85. And then that week it went from $85 to like $140. And it was on my watch list that week. And that's when he joined, right? So yeah, we do this every day. All right. Doc said IWM Daily. Right. Juan said IWM I did last week. Didn't trade the SPY. The moves are more potent on IWM. Contract 3-day expiration day. Beautiful. Jay Nasty, appreciate that, bro. First time here. I appreciate you tapping in. All right. I just want you guys to understand, right, that this is real analysis, right? And we're not just being here, right? Because it's a lot of crazy stuff on the internet, right? So this is a thorough channel, and we really provide real value, and people are actually making real money, right? So you could go in the comments and you could look at that so that you understand that just saying Joe Smo, right? We really making people money here, all right? So let's go to the setups for this week now, okay? Davida said, I like watching, going back over to understand, and it's working. Beautiful, right? This is how we get down, y'all. All right, every single week, every single day we do this, all right? So we got this week's watch list, okay? So this week's watch list, let me pull it up real quick. All right. Hold on one second, y'all. BSB said, yeah, bro, you helped me in ways that I can't repay, so I pass it on to people. Hey, appreciate that, man. Seriously, man. I really just want to help y'all. You know what I mean? Stefan said, I got MMM last week of your watch list. Hey, for sure, Stefan. Right? So, let's go here, right? So first on my list is going to be AMD. All right. They had a nice bounce recovery last week. Fell down on a weekly, right? AMD could retrace and they could go pump. So if we get above 218.33, enter in the calls, right? So let's go to AMD on the daily. AMD. All right. So let's look at this right here. Okay. Let's look at this right here. So we have this candle right here on the weekly, right? This is what it looks like on a daily. It's in a little uptrend right here, right? This looked like a small double bottom, right? If you go into a smaller time frame, right, you could see a little double bottom right here, right? And then on a 4 hour, we got a one candle, right? Consolidated and a 2 up, and then the market closed right at the 200 EMA, right? So we got some levels I want you guys to pay attention to, all right? So for AMD, what did I say? I said calls above 218.33, right? Calls above 218.33. Now, you got a couple rejection points that it can reject at, right? Your first rejection point is going to be at 224.21, okay? So we got rejection point 1 and rejection point 2. All right, so let's go here. We got 224.21. All right, first rejection point is going to be 224.21. So if we get above 218.33, which I'm pretty sure we're going to do, then we're going to be coming up to 224.34, 21, right? 224.21. At that point, we could reject, or we could just keep going up and go higher, right? The next price target after that is gonna be 229.59, right? 229.59 is gonna be the next one, right? And then we also got 226.32. So I think that AMD could make a nice move and it could retrace this whole candle this week, right? Back to 250. But in order to get there, we got a couple levels we gotta get over. And the first level is gonna be 224.21, then 226, and then 229.59. All right. If we get above 230, then we could have a really nice move to the upside. All right. But I'm looking for a retracement of this candle right here. All right. A retracement of this candle right here. And we're coming up right here. So if you swing it out about 2 weeks, I think that you can make some really nice money on AMD. All right. So let me know if AMD makes sense. That's AMD, y'all. That's a banger right there. All right. A Watkins just hopping on, but you wanted to let you know I took a 200% trade this week on Hood. Thanks to your analysis. Hey, everybody clap for A Watkins, right? Everybody clap for A Watkins in the comments, man. Listen, let me break this down for you. 200%. If you put $100 in that trade, that's a $300 return. If you put $1,000 in that trade, that's a $3,000 trade, right? 2,000 profit, but 3,000 total is what it's going to show, right? This is life-changing right here. She said 200%. That ain't no little money, right? This is how we change our life in the stock market. So when I say we do this every day, this is no cap, right? This is real people making real money in the stock market, right? Based off of these analysis. So take this stuff serious if you aren't already. All right. What's up, Wes? How you feeling? All right. This is real life. I want you guys to understand that trading is a journey and you are going to have a journey that you go on, right? I'm here to help you and be a part of your journey, but it's on you to execute and implement this stuff. All right. So shout out to A Watkins, right? If you guys want to come join the collective, click the link in the description. We trade every single day. We do it live. We got bots in there. We have a full-blown course as well inside of that you get access to when you join the Discord. And we basically break down all of the strategies, the strat method, and everything like that. All right. So this is no games, no gimmicks. Like, this is real life. So be sure, come join the Prosperity Collective as well. All right. So this is not a game. This is real life. This is real people. And this is real life changing information. All right. So when I give you guys these levels, understand that these probably gonna hit. It's a high percentage. It's a high probability that they're gonna hit. Every now and then they not, right? But it's yours if you want it, right? Always remember that. It is yours if you want it, right? So first setup, like I say, is AMD. I'm looking at a retracement of this right here, this candle right here, okay? We're already in an uptrend. So I think that if we open up tomorrow above or get above 218.33, then we come into the upside. All right. So that's AMD. All right. Let's go to the next setup. All right. Got some good hood too. I know you did, Doc. Doc be getting to it. Why is it very profitable to sell old crypto wallets through? I don't know, Ali. All right, so let's go to the next setup. I think that's a bot. So, next setup, right? Right here. Y'all see this right here? Oh, let me share the screen. He said, I had the reasons in the world. I had all the reasons in the world not to join. Now I'm mad I didn't do it sooner. Yep. Hey, shout out to that. So let's look at this right here. OKLO, y'all. All right, OKLO. Right? So it consolidated last week after it dropped down 50%. Right? They closed on the inside bar on the weekly time frame. Okay? Let's go to OKLO. Okay. OKLO. Boom. All right. So we got this right here, right? We got 94.06, right? On a daily, but if you go to the weekly, we have an inside bar right here, okay? There's a lot of buyers in this area, okay? There's a lot of buyers in this area, right? Now let me show you what's happening. It broke out, came back, and it's just retesting, right? It's getting ready to make a move to the upside. So if OKLO gets above 94.65, right? If OKLO gets above 94.65, you could enter into calls, okay? You could enter into calls. And if you enter into calls, my price target is going to be 109.81, okay? 109.81. So you could catch a $15 move. Let's just say $10, right? Let's say you a little bit later, they gap up or something like that, right? You could catch a $10 move this week on OKLO, right? If they get above 94.65, enter in the calls and you ride that thing up to 109.81. All right? This is a break and a retest right here, right? Broke out, came to retest, and look where it came back to retest. This is what you want to pay attention to, right? This is what you want to pay attention to. Right here, okay? Right here, this area, right? This area. So look, it broke out from right here, okay? Boom. Look where it came down to. It came down to the same area, right? Came down to the same area and it bounced. So it's retesting where it broke out from. And now it's starting to bounce and it's getting ready to come to the upside. All right. So OKLO is what I'm looking at to the upside. All right. OKLO, it's on a 1 bar on the weekly time frame. If you know what the strat is, then you know how powerful a 1 bar is. Calls above 94.65. All right. Calls above 94.65. If that makes sense, let me know. If that makes sense, let me know in the comments. All right. Wes said I'm watching SPY back up to 690. Yep. Yeah, we talked about the SPY in the beginning of this video, and then we talked about IWM as well. So yep, absolutely. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at on OKLO. Calls above 94.65, a bounce back to the upside. Okay. So that's a good one. Yeah. What's up, P. Bryant? How you feeling? So we got AMD on a retracement. You could say OKLO for a retracement as well, but it just came down to test where it broke out from, and it's bouncing, and it had a 1 candle last week. Exactly 50% off. So just think about what's going to happen when it bounces, right? So that's OKLO. So we got 2 bangers, right? We got 2 bangers. And then I gave you guys bangers on Friday. I gave you guys my watch list for December. If you have not, go watch my Friday watch list, right, video for December. I made a whole video breaking down the stocks that I see that can make a nice move for the month of December. All right? I'm telling y'all, we do this every single day, every single week. All right? Every single day, every single week, y'all. Okay? So we got AMD and we got OKLO. Right? Now, let's go look at the last setup. The last setup for the day. For the week. Okay? The last setup for the week. Yeah. OKLO is gonna be a banger because OKLO moves when it moves. It moves crazy. All right. Genesis. What's up, Genesis? How you feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling? So, let's go to back to the Discord. All right. So last one we got right here. We got VRT. Okay. Vertiv Holdings. Right. If we break above 180.57, enter in the calls and expect them to retest those all-time highs. Right. So let's go to VRT. Now we got a 1 bar right here, right, on a weekly time frame. So pay attention, right? Let's go to IWM real quick. Last week on the daily, we had a 1 bar. And look what happened. Broke above it, blasted off, right? So if we go to VRT, look at this, right? Weekly, boom, right? So we got a 1 bar on the weekly. The weekly time frames are stronger than the daily time frames. The bigger the time frame, the bigger the move, right? The more powerful the move. So 1 bar right here. Now, I say if we get above 180.57, enter in the calls, right? So the high on this candle is 179.73, but I'm gonna be real. I'll be conservative and say this highest candle, right? So 180.57. If we get above 180.57, then take entry, and my price target is going to be 191.41. Okay, 191.41 is going to be my price target, right? And then we got here, and then if it goes above that, then we could come up to 198, and then we could come and retest these all-time highs right here at 202. Right? This is VRT. That's on the weekly. On the daily, this is how we looking on the daily, right? It still looks bullish. It still looks solid, right? We need to get above that 180 level. Now we do have a rejection point at about 183.63. Okay. So we have a rejection point potential. It's not saying that it will happen, but it's a rejection point where it could reject. Okay. We got a rejection point right here at 183.72. All right. So if we get above that 180 and you enter in the calls, I want you guys to pay attention to 183.72. All right. It could reject here, come down, and then start to come up, or it could just blast through that 183.72. All right, but that is a rejection point that I want you to pay attention to. Okay? But calls above 180.57, we got a rejection point at 183. If we get above 183.72, we go into 191.41. All right? Let me know if that makes sense on VRT. If that makes sense on VRT, let me know in the comments. All right. Just gave you guys 3 certified bangers. All right. Last week, I gave you guys 3 certified bangers. All right. So when we reconvene next week, right? When we reconvene next week on Sunday, I want you guys to show up. And I want y'all to let me know what stock y'all hit, okay? Now, let me say this as well. If these stocks come up to the levels that I have and then they reject, that means that you could ride them on puts as well. Because what I did was I'm giving you guys the level for you to trigger to the upside. But if you see it come to that level and it starts to go in the opposite direction, you can enter into puts and you can ride it to the downside. Okay? I just want to make sure that we all on the same page here. All right? You could play these upside plays to the downside if we reject and we come down first, because sometimes in the week the move might happen, but on Monday we might have a rejection first, come down, and then take an entry and go to the upside. All right. John McKinney, how you feeling? How you feeling? So I want you guys to keep that in mind as well. All right. So we went over SPY, we went over IWM, right? And then we went over this week's picks as well, right? AMD, OKLO, and VRT, right? What up, Swell Hunter? For sure. Did you go over Lulu? Nah, I did not go over Lulu this week. I did go over Lulu on Friday for one of my watch list picks for the month of December, okay? For the month of December. But if you look at it, they look good on a daily. Let's look at Lulu real quick. If you look at Lululemon, look at them on a daily, on a weekly right here, right? Consolidated right here, came up, right? Boom. And then if you look at them on the daily, they are, this is a failed to up right here. So they could come down first before they go higher. But if you look at them on the monthly, they're on a failed to down on the monthly, right? So on the monthly time frame, we need them to get above 186.98, right? If they get above 186.98, you can enter in the calls, and then you can ride it all the way up here to 206, all right? So this one right here looks like a beautiful setup. You just got to get above 186.98. So really, you could just say 187, all right? So this right here, this gonna be a nice, beautiful banger. It's gonna come right back up to this supply zone right here. It was a demand zone that broke through. Now it's a supply zone. So yeah, we're gonna come back up here, right? So I think that Lululemon could definitely retrace back up to $200 this week or next week. All right. So yeah, let's look at JPM real quick as well. JPM. All right. So JPM on the monthly, they close on a 2. So they look like they about to potentially come down because based off of the monthly time frame, this uptrend, the candles are getting smaller right here. Let's go to the weekly. Looks bullish right here on the weekly. The daily, it looks bullish as well. So it looks bullish, but we got to see how, like, we could come back up to 321. So if we get above like 313.68, yeah, 313.68, then it's gonna come back up to 320. So that could be a good day trade for tomorrow, depending on what the price action looks like. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm seeing on JPM. Davita said, gotta learn options. Come join the Prosperity Collective or come book a one-on-one. All right, we can break it all down for you. All right, he said Nike looks good. Yeah, Nike did have a recovery and they came back to the upside. All right, so yeah, y'all. So that's what we got for this week. All right, I hope that you guys got value from it. I hope y'all ready to make some money this week as well in the market. All right. So, like I always say, man, make sure you get up out your head and go get into this world because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right. And also, like I always say, I want y'all to say it with me. If you new, I want you to join the party. All right. I want y'all to say it with me, man. The more you study, the less you worry. All right. Listen, y'all, if you want to, be sure to join the Prosperity Collective. Click the link in the description. We live trade daily. We have a whole course in there that's going to help you understand options, how to trade using the strat method, all of this stuff that we be talking about on these videos. All right. You guys have a great day. You have a great Sunday. I'm going to see everybody on tomorrow's video. I'm going to also see y'all in the Discord tomorrow if y'all do choose to join the Prosperity Collective. All right. I appreciate y'all time. Y'all have a great Sunday. I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.